Well, welcome back to Ma's Garage. If you've made it this far, you're on episode 6. Got Kev.
Great.
And Smokey. And today we're going to be talking about sleep.
And its important factors. We'll start by following up on a past episode. I'm going to fall on the sword, admit my problems here. My sleep has been less than healthy lately. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I've been experimenting things, and now I'm sleeping in past the beginning of the podcast. Now we're doing this late. We've tangented far like we normally would, but now we're deeper into the night.
So let's start with why did you? So I'll give a little bit of detail into what Kevin's talking about. Is he recently embarked on an attempt to adjust his sleep schedule dramatically in an effort to preserve more time? That's why you kind of did it, Kev, or do you want to kind of spatiate on that?
I'd say I did it to claim more time. I felt like I need work, like a job, like my day job, to finance the things that I want to do. I want to do the things I want to do, but I want to spend time with my family too, because I don't want to miss out on those. And often that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from, is doing the things I enjoy. And that's where I was going to replace my nighttime, where I spend most of it sleeping, with time to do things that, it's my me time. That's where I was going to dive into me and do the things that I like doing. And it was going good at first, like I had a lot of ambition, a lot of motivation, but then I don't know, more things piled up on the shelf, and I just ended up doing a whole lot of nothing for most of it. I had the sleep part down where I could sleep in these 20-minute spurts and fall asleep pretty quick, and I didn't matter what was going on around me. I could sleep through it. I could hone in on this one thing and pass out and wake up 20 minutes later. Most of the time, no problem. But if I got off of it, there were like dramatic swings in how I could function mentally. Like I could tell, I could physically feel it, and I could almost like visually out of body see myself doing it.
When you weren't on your schedule, or when you broke your schedule?
Yes. Like I felt the drain of not having my nap. Like if my nap was coming, I knew my nap was coming. And every 4 hours is pretty inconvenient, especially if I'm not being as productive as I want at night.
Yeah, because it'll hit a point where you're like, you feel like you didn't really do as much. So you're going to take your nap and you're like, now at the end of this nap, I'm going to be stupid productive. I got to make up for what I didn't do from the previous time. And just in doing that, it kind of gets your mind racing a little bit. So when you wake up from that nap, you're not as invigorated as you wanted to be. And it just kind of discourages you from wanting to be as productive, because you're not in the same mindset that you were in prior to the nap. Am I kind of close?
Yes. Especially, that's exactly right. When you get the good flow days where you're like on a hot streak, it's like, I can't stop this. If I stop this, it's done. I'm not coming back for this.
Absolutely. And I think it's very interesting because a lot of people do talk about how you should take time to be able to take a nap during the day, or just take something that you can just shut down, or something to that level per se, that you can just kind of release. But if you're in the middle of doing things, that if you take that pause, and then when you come back, it's almost like you have to put the puzzle back together, and you took two of the pieces and you literally just flipped them, and you're just trying to force them to fit.
Right. Because you have to try to recall all the steps that you've already taken to get there. Whereas if you would have just continued, you could have just finished it and called it good.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. To each their own. I do know some people that they can't function properly if they can't get a nap in during the day. Full-fledged adults. I never thought I'd see anything like that, but like I said, to each their own. And some people go through some different things, and what it
Different
is
things
what it
work for
is.
different people. There's no one right way to do anything, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think about myself, like if I were to go to work and then after work come home, take a brief nap, and then resume my evening, I would honestly feel like I have deprived myself of like however long I took to take that nap, because you only have so much time in the day. And then I'm going to take a nap, and then I'm going to be sleeping like like full-fledged sleeping in through the night until the morning when I have to wake up and go to work again. So where it would be nice to take that little breather, I almost look at it as like people look at different reasons for why they want to sleep, as in like they're tired, or as in they want to pass time, or as in they're just looking for something to escape. And some people look to sleep as a way to escape. And if they're looking to sleep as their escape, what they're using to like relieve stress per se, I believe that each person just needs to find their own way to be able to release and relieve that stress.
Because you can only
And
sleep for so
function
long.
still, right?
Because you
Exactly.
you got to wake back up at some point. Because I've done that before too, where I use sleep as an escape, and it's just like, especially when we didn't have much to do, and it was easier just to go to sleep, you know. But
Especially
at
during
some
this
point, you're not
pandemic.
tired, you know. When you're not tired, and then you're used to just sleeping, you created that as your habit. And then I'm going to sleep when I'm bored, and then you're woken up and you're like, well, I just got up from a nap. What do I do now? And
Right.
like that's when I had to change that, because I couldn't keep pushing that same button.
Absolutely. So,
Um,
I mean,
That's where
and especially like in terms of the sleep schedule that you were looking to achieve, like you weren't taking a full block of sleep. You were taking your full block of sleep and breaking it into smaller blocks. So you never had a full connected, like I believe you probably never fully entered REM. And when these naps will carry over is when you're actually entering REM.
right. And that was the thought process behind it, where if I deprive myself long enough, I will force my body to rewire itself. And I had a few times where I would sleep hard enough that I'd dream and it would like snap me awake at the end of my 20 minutes, like right before my alarm would go off.
Can you explain real quick what your schedule was that you tried to set in place to change your schedule? I don't know if we've really established that.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I'm a
The
little
name of it,
interested myself.
there is a name of it. The scientific name that I know it by is the Uberman sleep cycle. It's a form of polyphasic sleep, which there's actually like a few different forms of the polyphasic. So you've got the Uberman, which every 4 hours you sleep for 20 minutes. So it's really every 3 hours and 40 minutes of being awake, you sleep for 20 minutes. So the thought process behind that is you deprive yourself enough, you get these 20-minute breaks, and you will get enough to just like boost your charge to get your next energy. You know, when you first wake up, the best way I can think about it is when I have my sleep schedule where I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and have that cup of coffee after a full night's sleep. And when you just do something because you know it needs to be done, you do it and you take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
It's been lingering on the mind, and you're just like, all right, I got to get this done right now. Like it's been
yes.
lingering for too long.
And you get that self gratification. It's supposed to
Yeah.
increase the chances of that happening because you've got more of those wake up times, except you don't have the cup of coffee to boost it. Because the second you introduce caffeine, you introduce a whole nother variable that you have to try to control, you know.
How
And
long?
if you just run yourself without the caffeine, it's a lot easier to
I
manage
can
it.
see where that can be a little difficult, and
And
especially
then,
where you're waking up and you're thinking about, oh, I have to work on this, or I have to do this, and you're still like getting your body back to like for working 100% because it was just dormant for 20 minutes. So
Right.
you almost have like a little bit of a sluggish to what you're doing.
But another inspiration in this was also my kids though with that, where I've grown so reliant on the coffee. I never needed coffee before. And because I started drinking coffee because somebody told me, hey, drink this will help. Is that why I drink coffee now? Because I feel like I was creative as hell as a kid, especially when I look at my kids and they've got all this energy. So
I don't
if I
drink
can
coffee.
if I can force myself to not do the caffeine, can I get off the coffee? Can I get off energy drinks, all these other weird random things to try to give yourself energy? And how do I replace that?
So on that one, because I'm the same way, and don't get me wrong, I still drink coffee. I love coffee. It's still my quick start button.
So good.
But
I know
what I've been learning to replace that with, which, everything in moderation, is exercise. Like I've been told it, people tell me time again, my family, look at exercise as your cup of coffee. Look at exercise equates to energy. So the more time you exercise, the more energy you will have. And I fought that for so long. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I move around and I do my job and I'm up and I'm walking and I'm doing all this stuff. I'm always busy, but I'm overweight and I'm tired all the time. And what kind of changed is my mom bought me, like, she started doing it for herself, but with a workout program, and she got me it for Christmas, which I was like, okay, thanks, Mom, but I'll try it. And it's 30 minutes a day, like every day of the week. And I started doing that, and I started making some other changes right at the beginning of the year. But there's been like a fire lit under my ass since then. And it's probably, that in consideration with a lot of other stuff, but I've been getting this other sense of energy because you're teaching your body a new level of energy that it can stand. You know what I mean? You're giving yourself a new limit to feed into. So when you don't exercise or when you're not pushing as hard, you have more energy to pull from, is kind of how I've been looking at it.
okay.
That's true. And
Right,
I will not lie, that is something I've been trying to incorporate slowly but surely, and I just keep finding reasons to put it off.
There's always a reason. I'm tired, or I'm hurt, or I'm sore.
It goes back to our previous episode.
It's so easy.
On accountability. Like there's always going to be that reason.
These are the reasons I tried to start recording myself.
I'm not perfect. I don't do it every day, but you know what? It's nagging in my brain. Why haven't you done your exercises in 3-4 days?
I was on such a good
Why are you tired
with that?
I
was in a
ask
good
yourself
place
those hard questions.
Streak with that.
That's your conscious speaking. Your conscious is like, dude, like you should be doing these better things. Like every one of us has that positive conscious, and then there's always that negative conscious, the good and the bad, every single time. The good and the bad. The good and the bad.
This sleep schedule would have worked if I could plan it out better. And I don't know.
I almost want to say that sounds very fair, because like as much planning as you did, it doesn't seem like you've done a lot of planning during it. So that's where like you're not looking at like your future blocks of time that you're going to be awake, that you have things planned for what you're going to do.
It is very true. And I was trying to find a way to incorporate that, but I knew I had the sleep organized, but I didn't have a routine time. I didn't have a routine. Exactly. I needed things to keep myself busy, but I didn't want a routine. I didn't want to keep doing the same monotonous thing, but I needed things to do. I needed people to give me ideas. People gave me ideas. Those aren't good enough ideas. Or, I don't want to do those ideas.
For a little reference real quick, how long have you been doing this? How long have you given this to set in? It's been at least 2-3 months, right?
I think it's been since September. I have journal entries.
I was going to say,
I don't have my journal down here.
Quite long.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
You were definitely talking about the Uberman schedule in the journal that I read.
Yes.
Right. So it's not something that you just like, oh, I've tried it for a week, it's not working for me. You gave this a go.
You've given this some time.
And you have a full-time job,
I can definitely,
a family, two kids to balance it around.
I can
So
absolutely see the positives in terms of having those blocks. And if you're planning things, like you have projects that are planned for those blocks, like you can absolutely capitalize on like the awake hours of the day.
right, like if you're already coasting out of flow state, and that's when you pick your naps to hit, then
Mhm.
cool, you're already coming out of flow state. So then you could set into a nap and reset yourself, and then maybe solve the problem. And then that's from an outside perspective of someone who didn't try that sleep study.
That's
But
that's what I'm saying. Not any one sleep schedule is right for any one person, right? Like you
right,
need to find ways to adopt it to yours. And if you
Yeah,
can get your body, I
basically.
guess, to naturally go with your flows, you can hit a nap right after a flow's done and then wake up in time for the next flow to start.
try to pin down your flow state though. That's a task on its own.
I feel like I've been
It's a
tapping
venture
into
that
it,
we all
but
go down.
I need to get back into my waking up in the morning thing. Like I've been doing longer stretches at night, but I will stay up late just doing shit that I enjoy doing. Like I've been
Our
drawing a
conversations
lot
came
and
from that.
coloring a lot. Yes. That's where a
Like
lot of,
I'm
yeah, those
2 hours
conversations
difference.
came from.
Yeah.
But I can't sacrifice my mornings either. Like I got to find that balance. And that's where I'm trying to find a way to incorporate a nap in the afternoon, and I'm trying to figure out how long it needs to be. And I think coffee will still be part of my life because I literally drank a cup the other day and fell asleep. Like I drank it before I went to bed because I knew it would be gross when I woke up.
This was something that
Depending,
developed from us talking
I've definitely
about.
done that from time to time. If after like a night of just like drinking like a bunch of stuff or just like eating a bunch of stuff, like just like having like a small cup of coffee to just like relax. And
See,
like some
that's
like a lot of people say that you shouldn't drink coffee like immediately before bed, but if you drink coffee like 3-4 hours before you go to bed, then by that time that you're almost kind of on like the down swing by then.
I feel like I used to know a lot of things about coffee, and now I've forgotten a lot of them. I feel like
I
I've
think
used
in
them. Reason is probably my sleep deprivation.
South America, I think they
I just
normally
love
drink
the
their coffee
taste
at
of it,
night.
man.
Like that's their
What about
culture, is to drink it more in the evening.
Like I've drank energy drinks and I've drank like pop in the morning as like my caffeine for waking up, but just having like a fresh cup of coffee in the morning after like a good night's sleep, just when you're waking up, like that's just it's
It goes
so
back to
peaceful.
moderation. Like one cup of coffee, maybe two is fine. But if I'm having 3 or 4 cups trying to keep pushing that button all day, it'll,
That
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
like I've pushed
Adverse
maybe like
effects.
2 cups at the
that's?
most. And
I
I
can feel
mean,
the twitch
like
behind
I'm
my
saying
eyes at
like
that
two
point.
8 or 12 ounce cups. Don't get me wrong, I've definitely had like the 44 ounce iced coffee from Panera just because why
Why the
not?
hell not?
But that was
How
only
often?
once.
How
That
often do
was
you get it?
literally
Right?
only once. And after that, we both, Blake and I, were like, bro, we can't drink this whole thing in one sitting. It's just way too much coffee in one sitting. So we broke it up into 3 sittings,
Oh, jeez.
Nice.
which was a lot better.
One way we talked before too is like you were saying, one of the reasons you went down this road in the first place was, what'd you say, to reclaim more of your time? Is that how you worded it?
Yes.
And
So
Yes.
especially with that schedule, like you're not sleeping very long. So you're going to be awake much longer than like the normal person that's going to be sleeping like between 5 and 8 hours, because you're only at the end when we calculated it, you're getting 4.5 hours. What was it that we calculated? 4 hours of sleep
3 hours and 40 minutes. Or no. Yes.
total.
So total is
It was
20
five.
minutes.
It was
20
it was
minutes
five,
times.
five,
Yeah, it's 2 hours of sleep total. 2 hours of sleep total. 20-minute naps 6 times a day.
Well, we kind of talked about inside of that too.
3 20-minute naps.
Is you can get time back in that way, like you said.
Or
is
20-minute naps.
cut out 6 hours 6 hours of your sleep and, cut it down to 2 or 3, or you can make more value out of the time that you do have, you know what I mean? The due time that you have up, and find different ways to add more value into your time, if that
That's
makes
true.
sense.
It
Like,
does. And because
That's something from it. Go ahead.
because I'm almost thinking like it almost like now that we're like talking about this a little bit more, it makes a little bit more sense why people will wake up a little bit earlier. Like people that wake up at like 6, 7 a.m. and then they take a nap at like 1, 2 o'clock. Like they're making up that difference of like I sleep average of like 6.5 down to 6 hours. I can function on 4, but like I don't prefer to. But and then like the people that need to sleep the full 8 hours at once, some people that can break it into smaller pieces. But I can definitely almost see the benefits a little bit more. Like and I'm almost trying to think if I can challenge myself, if I can commit to waking up at 7 in the morning, and then because waking up at 7 in the morning as opposed to waking up at 9 in the morning that I'm doing. Well, right now I'm waking up at 8 in the morning. So I guess for this scenario, I would have to wake up at 6 in the morning, still going to bed at like 1 to 2 a.m. So take that for what it is. But then when I get out of work and I actually sleep, it'll actually be like more valuable, as in like I'm going to need it more, so that when
Your body will appreciate
up,
it more.
yes, my body will appreciate it more. And then when I wake up, I'll be able to actually like, even though like majority of that evening that I've normally had is gone, I have the remaining time that I have a much more energized feeling.
Can I ask you?
That's in theory, right?
Oh yes, I'm not saying I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm just saying like us talking about this is giving me these thoughts and why these thoughts are valid.
Yes.
Smokey, do you, at a real level, and if you feel comfortable answering this, like, do you feel like the time that you are awake now, you utilize every moment to the standard that you think that you can? The moments that the time that you already have within your day, are you fully like booked out on your time?
Do you consider yourself a busy person?
Absolutely. That without a doubt. But what I guess in terms
different, yeah.
In terms
Hold on,
of,
hold on,
so,
though.
like, trying to answer Crick's question, I do feel like I am utilizing a lot of my time as positively and wisely as I can, but there is always that thought in the back of my head that when I'm doing when I'm in like my recharging time, that I have these thoughts in the back of my head of why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? Why are you not doing this? And to each their own. Like sometimes it kind of goes back to like everyone needs to kind of find their way to have their own stress relief, because when you're relieving that stress is when you're relieving those thoughts as well.
Right.
That's true. Yeah,
I agree.
Literally, when I got home from work yesterday, I spent I got home and it was probably sun went down, so it was like 6:30 or so, and I got home around like 5:30 or so. So took like an hour and a half, give or take, and just like shoveled all the snow and the ice off the driveway because it had melted to the point that you finally could. And I just focused on that, but I felt so nice because one, it was just gorgeous outside. The weather was amazing. And two, it just felt good to be able to just like focus on one thing and then accomplish that one thing. Like at the end of that, I literally said to myself as I was just like looking at the sky and stuff, just like this is why people work out. Like this is why people find like a time to just be able to like go like do some active work, do some active working out to just relieve some stress.
Right. that's where you can relieve stress in different ways. Cause like, I guess the reason why I asked that is like where I found time myself was decompression time is 100% necessary. And I'll even fight for it all day. Like you need like a whole day of decompression. But I was using too much decompression time. I was telling, oh, after work every day, I need all night to come back down so I can, like, for myself, I was giving myself too much time to decompress. And I started using, like, I would draw on that decompression time because I still get to decompress, but I'm working on my craft.
Mm-hmm.
So I started finding different ways to restructure my time to where I was still decompressing. I was still getting my mental health that I need, which is so important, but finding a way so I wasn't having as many of those thoughts. So I was still like, oh, I could battle those thoughts. When it was like, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? It's like, well, because I've already done all this week and this is already still progressing towards something else. So what you got for me now, you know?
Right.
And I guess, yeah, that's where I was coming from with
it. I got you. And I can definitely understand because I smoke cigarettes and that's like my decompressing time, like just time that I just kind of like unwind and like think about random stuff. Unless as of lately, depending on like where I'm smoking, like if I'm smoking outside of my job, there's been people in the smoking section. So I've been having conversations with them, which has been nice. Like I enjoy having a conversation with someone when I'm smoking much more than just like smoking by myself. But when I am smoking by myself, that's when I take my time to decompress and just kind of like get rid of like my thought, like get rid of like that monkey on my back. That's just like these thoughts that have just been lingering all day. And you finally just have a time to just blow that smoke out.
And that's a valuable time. Like that's a structure that for a while I didn't give myself. I would bottle up thoughts, not deal with them. You know, I wasn't giving myself that time of day to express them. So like that's 100% needed. You know, it's just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all, like you said, we've all got those avenues and do it in different ways. And that's where you got to be respectful and appreciative, you know, but that's where it's
there also are a lot of people, like you just said, after they're done working their 8-hour shift, they want to go home. All they want to do is sit on that couch and watch TV and they don't want to do anything else. Because I've literally like, I follow a lot of like success and wealth pages on Instagram and stuff, and they're always talking about like the typical American or the typical 9-to-5 or something along those lines. And then like the successful entrepreneur like actively works out, actively reads, actively engages in conversation, actively does this and actively does that. And it comes down to having the right mindset at the end of the day. If you're in the right mindset, then the mind is a powerful thing. And that's why at the end of the day, when you're sleeping, you're giving your mind a chance to rest, because you can't just, and that's like, I understand the purpose. I understand the benefits of the Uberman schedule. And I don't think it's something you should be committing to all the time. I think it's something that should only be committed to for a very short period of time, because it is going to burn you out at a point.
What benefits do you think you've learned from it? Like, what do you think you could take and implement into your own sleep schedule that you liked from the Uberman schedule?
I feel like for a while I lost appreciation for time. That's one thing.
Not the worst thing.
I can understand that. And especially back to like what Crick was saying, especially when you're just kind of like going through the motions and you're just passing time to pass time. And there's a billion other things you could be doing to pass that time, but you're choosing something else that you're just choosing to pass that time. Something that kind of
goes back to what you just said, though.
Be something that's positive and something that's progressive per se.
You just have to be in that mindset. About the thing. That's what it is.
See, like the one of the books that I'm reading literally talks about like how to just challenge your mind into adopting the thought of nothing can break me. Nothing can basically like I'm trying to think of like synonyms of like nothing can break me, but literally just not that you're untouchable. Like you can definitely be damaged, but at the end of the day, you're not going to allow it to kill you per se.
You won't break my spirit.
Yes.
You won't break my no matter, unless you kill me. If you break my legs, I'll keep crawling forward. If you break my arms, I'll keep waddling forward. But I'm gonna keep coming until you put me down.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny. I know you guys don't follow sports very much, but it's like I don't know if you've, especially I know Crick, you're over in Colorado. So but the new head coach of the Lions had a iconic speech for his like being introduced as head coach. And a part that he received some criticism and he received a lot of like motivation, a lot of inspiration, and a lot of support, where he was like, we're going to be the team that at the end of the day, we're standing tall, and you can punch us in the face and you can knock us down, but we're going to get back up and we're going to take your kneecap off on the way up. And then you're going to knock us back down, but on the way back up, we're going to take your other kneecap off. And then you're going to try and knock us back down, where I'm going to try and knock you back down. At the end of the day, we're going to be the ones that are standing. We're going to be the ones that are going to be victorious. We're going to be the ones that aren't going to let you break our spirit.
When the smoke settles, we'll be the ones still standing.
And like, he got a lot of criticism, but like, to me personally, I'm fired up. Like, that is the kind of coach that this franchise has needed. And
dude, we're not gonna quit.
And then, I mean, God forbid we have a losing season our first season with him as our head coach.
We're building up stamina.
A head coach like that like someone gives a speech like that, like I'm ready to run through a wall for this guy. And a lot of the players have said the same. And I'm so excited for this year, because it's like, this is the coaching regime plus all the experience and everything that we have. Like, this is the coaching regime that we needed after the Patricia era and after the sputtering of the Caldwell era.
That comes down to passion. Like, I was talking to this guy who's his website's even called like Not a Professional Photographer, and he's trying to get into like photography, and like, but that's his aspect. He's like, I just enjoy this. Like, I'm doing it out of a place of joy. And he was talking to me the other day, and he's newer into it, and he just had like some big or one of his things blow up on Instagram, and it's taken off, and he has all these people asking him to do like video shoots and all this, and he's newer into it. He just started taking this more seriously recently, and he's like, why? Like, I don't get why all these people are like, you know, taking so much trust and belief in me. And it's like, because they can see the passion in what you're doing. They can see literally, like, you're not just copying and pasting something someone's seen somewhere else. That's easy to kind of pick up on. You want to see something, and you're making that communicated in such a way that they can't help but see your passion. And what made me realize that is I felt the same way about my art and drawing. I was just like, why does anybody want to pay me money for this? Why does anybody want to take this over what they could do themselves? And it's like, they could see that I actually gave a shit and spent hours and hours and hours and hours on it, even when I didn't feel like it was up to my standard. And it's like, people can see that in other people, because I've definitely seen it in people myself.
And it probably means a lot when you can like see it in the other people that like they're like it just gives you a
inspiring.
Whole different, it's a whole different perspective of inspiration.
Right. You just see this look in their eyes, this twinkle. It's that twinkle you see in movies. It's all that. It's real. This look in their eyes of like you said, you can't break my spirit no matter what you do. And that's where I talked to him about that thing where look back into your life. I asked him, I was like, look back in your life. And he's like, I haven't been doing this my whole life. I was like, have you? And I asked him, he's like, well, actually, since I've been editing videos since I was 14. I was like, there you go. It's a passion. It's that twinkle. It's that drive in you that you can't get rid of, you know, and don't hide it. Fucking express that shit.
Absolutely. And you just, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Just adopting the right mindset and staying true to your word,
running with it,
true to you.
That's
who
the thing.
You are, what you want. Yeah.
That's the thing, is I think I'm trying to figure out what I want, or I'm trying to remember what that thing was. You know, I feel like I've thrown myself so much into my work for so long. A lot of times, like at a lot of my jobs.
Kev, I think if you abandon the Uberman schedule, go back to a traditional sleep X hours schedule, you will see the value in the Uberman schedule.
and then readopt it.
when you need to. If you
I think
want
they'll
to.
readopt elements. Like if anything,
That's yes.
you'll take the
that's
elements
more.
that
I think
you
you're
need
gonna
mixed with what
you're gonna understand the importance of I have these waking hours and I need to fill them with at least this and at least this. This is my priority list for the day. And then I can fill this time with this and then this time with this. If I would have
I
had
was
that
doing that.
concept earlier on
I
in
was doing
my
that.
professional realm, things could have been a lot differently.
that was some of the drive for me. It's like kind of like you said, it's like when I had like something to focus on, it was much easier to say, hey, are you utilizing your time? Because you're eventually going to die. And if you want to do all these things that you have written down, you better get on them. Like I have so many different huge projects that I've only dipped my toe into the water. And like, that's my incentive is like, dude, you're never going to get this shit done. You know how long a lot of these things take.
Right.
And if you're not working on this right now, it's not going to get, do you want to get it done or no? And that's the question I have to ask myself. That's why it's on my whiteboard. That's where it's always somewhere I have to see it, because then I have to ask myself the question, are we going to work on it? Or are we just not going to do it? You know,
I guess I've gotten lazy with my planning and scheduling for myself, scheduling the priorities, you know, my own personal priorities. And that's where the Uberman was supposed to come in, because a lot of my priorities have to be rescheduled. They have to take the wayside, having kids and stuff, which is
family,
fine.
full-time
Oh,
job.
absolutely.
Like, yeah.
But I wanted that time to do the things that I want to learn, that I want to check off the list. I just need to make those lists and find out how to attack those lists.
How much time do you need to do those?
Exactly.
How much, you know what I mean? How much time a week do you actually need?
I don't think the
extra to
Uberman's
accomplish
dead.
that?
I don't think it's dead by any means. I think I was just a little hasty. I jumped the gun.
That's what I'm saying. That's really what it feels like, and that's one more. I think that's what Crick and I are trying to say. I think that you dove in head first, but it was only 3 feet deep.
I feel like I'm forgetting a lot more things with the lack of sleep.
Well, and
Things-
don't
More
put that on
things
just
become
that.
unaccomplished.
We've
And
been
espe-
putting
and-
this
and-
podcast and other projects on top of it. You're spreading yourself. I'm finding myself forgetting more and more as well recently, because you're asking more of yourself. When you do that, you're spreading your mind thinner. You know what I mean? So
How do you
take that
keep
account.
track of? How do you keep track of everything though? How do you keep
I-
track of it all? What's the
Lists
solve all?
and boards and
You gotta
Yeah, I
have
write
something
lists.
to a level of a
Which
personal
list was it
planner
though? Which
or a
list was the
personal
most
assistant.
recently created list?
well, that's where I have the whiteboard, because it's all in one place. Like all my
That's
lists are
true.
separated, but they're in one place.
Dude, with
and they
these
have levels of
lights,
importance.
like my new setup, you've actually opened up more wall space. So I think I might actually be able to get like a full-fledged whiteboard now.
And that worked for
You
me.
should get the
Try
white-
it. You know what I mean? Like, but you guys might be
The
different.
Home
Maybe-
Depot one is so cheap.
I am gonna have
maybe
to
you
move.
need to build stuff of every single one, little clay figures of everything that you need to
That's
do
what
for
I'm
the day, and then smash them when you're done with them. And that's your thing.
Oh my
Like
God.
that's how you make sure you get something done every day.
That's true.
and
That's
I,
true.
I do,
You gotta
and I
figure
mean,
it
I
out.
do
Your reward.
have a decent amount of
Right.
desk space to work with,
There you go.
and eventually,
Work on your clay working
I
skills.
eventually, I will have to move Ollie's painting because my monitor is now in the way of that.
Just like every project, everything's growing, everything's living. So your sleep schedule is the same. You know what I mean? Like it's going to change. And if you try to just go in the beginning saying, this is how things are going to be, and I'm going to force it, you know what I mean? Like that's when you fuck shit up, is you got to be willing to compromise and work with things, and, you know, not put up with all the excuses, but be like, okay, I'm adjusting. This is what I need. And, you know,
That's what it is. It's constant adjustment.
right.
That's what
Nothing
I.
works on the first go. Nothing's like, boom,
I
ready
said
to
I-
go. Let's set it and forget it.
As much as they want, like you want it all to work out on that first go, and you're just like, this is gonna work. Like, there's no way it's gonna fail. But
Mhm.
even if it goes flawlessly, you're gonna find something that, like, this could have gone this way, or this could have
It's
gone
true.
that way. Like,
I moved up-
I've definitely noticed that in like planning events, like. It's gonna go off the hook. Like, this is gonna be amazing. Everything's gonna go amazing. And even if everything goes exactly as you planned, there's still gonna be things that you're just gonna be like, oh man, what if this would happen? Or oh man, what if this would have happened? Or what if this or that? What if this went that way instead? Like there's always gonna be those thoughts.
I had the argument today. I just moved up into the kitchen, my work stuff into the kitchen to separate my this life, the podcaster's life. I've even rearranged this whole area. I don't even know what to call it yet for the podcast. And I moved my work stuff upstairs and I said, I need to move it downstairs. I said, you're going to move again? I said, yes. And I came downstairs and I moved some stuff and I said, I can't move it in here. I made this space its own space for a reason. And I made sure that it couldn't get moved back into this space, my work stuff. So I said, I need to take over part of the toy room. Why do you take so much room? Because I have two lives. I have my work life and I've got my life.
Right.
I need to keep them separated. Otherwise, they just intermingle, Papers
I
go
had-
missing. Things
I had to do
happen.
the same thing.
I
I
get it.
recorded the last episode up in my room because my lab is messy, and that's not what this is for. This place is for that. This place is for the projects. That was not what I should have done, is let myself leave this messy and just do it in my room. It has a place for a reason, you know what I mean? And like, clean that up, take care of your space, respect yourself. Like, it's so huge to like
My
respect
space is
yourself
shared
and your
with the toy
surroundings.
room.
Right. And
That's where-
exactly. Yeah.
I need my own space. It's coming.
Well, that's
in the
what you
works.
said. Yep. And it's just, you gotta do what you have, but make it your space and make it that for a reason. Set it up for success. Set yourself up for success in whatever
Plus,
way
the
it
snow
is.
is melting.
That's
I
true.
will-
Oh
I
yeah.
will- I can say though, especially like when you're working from home, that can be a little difficult because you've got your work from home set up, and some depending on like how much space you have to work with, like
Right.
like Blake has his work from home set up in his room. Josh has his work from home set up at the table in the basement, which is not in his room, even though he has his computer in his room. But same idea. He wants to keep it separated so that he's not like intertwining the two. And Blake even
That's-
talked about like difficulties that he was finding at a time, and
I wish I had a laptop.
some way,
to do my
some
work
new
stuff
tactics
on.
that he's been trying to adhere to in order to like find order to that.
I wish I either A, had a laptop to do this on, or B, could do my job effectively on my tablet, or be like Iron Man and just tell somebody else to do it for me. To tell my
One
thoughts.
day.
Make it do it for me.
That would be cool. Well, I mean, honestly, if Crick's been doing this off mobile the entire time, and now even with us having these lights, like there'll be times that we'll be doing off of mobile for like convenience and stuff. If one day, like when the weather's all nice and stuff, I mean, it's dark now, but if we ever like shoot this during the day, where we'll be able to like be outside and be able to like enjoy the fresh air.
Right. Live
My
shoots. like-
garage the morning
my-
after.
Yeah, the day we actually go to the garage.
I'm literally looking at piles of laundry and where we hang all of our clothes. So like, I'm down for a change of scenery. You know what I mean? Like,
Nice.
it's like you got to make do with what you have, but at the same time, we're still doing it. I mean, we could say, oh, we don't have a perfect space to record or do our podcast, so we need to wait to record episodes, and we'd have nothing recorded. But all three of us with different situations and different things that got in our way the whole way, and it still are. But just like the lights, we knock them out and we get rid of them, and we find out what we have to change. So hopefully one day it's not an issue anymore. And the only thing we have to think about is doing what we want to do and put more energy into the important things that we think are important aspects of the show, of our lives, of our projects, whatever else.
That was powerful. That brought it home. I like that. It's true. I guess it's remembering why things give you value, right? Why
Right.
why are
Why
we
do you
doing
care
the
about
things
them?
we're doing? Why do we care this much to give it this much thought?
And
Check in with yourself.
appreciating the value of just things in general.
As they are. Right. Instead of looking at how this could be and all the advancements we can, we are recording this. We're doing something with it, and it's above and beyond nothing. So it's like, appreciate where you are, but always strive for more. you know?
Yes. Never stop growing, never stop learning.
Right.
That's why. And
Never
that's,
think
You never know everything. You're never the smartest person in the room.
Absolutely.
We just at the same time. Too
Always
true.
understand that there's going to be times that you might just have to take some time to recharge.
Yeah. Recharge, get that sleep. Because if you don't sleep, you can literally die. You kill yourself from not sleeping. It's that powerful. And
I've
yet,
thought
as
of that.
science, we don't know why we need it. We don't fully understand
And there's
why we need
there's some
sleep.
people that legitimately do full-time jobs where they only get like 2 and 3 hours of sleep. And they're literally just working the rest of the just crunching away doing something. Like some people that are like hardcore video editing, some people that are hardcore like video game develop, like coding, like stuff of that. Like when I was learning
guess
about
that's-
crunch time for like video game releases and stuff. Like
I guess that's where doing the sleep schedule for a long period at a time, I don't have a sense of urgency ever. Like nothing seems urgent because I've grown very arrogant with how much time I've had. I feel like is one of the better ways to describe it. Like
I can
got time.
understand.
I got
I'll
all
bet,
night
like,
to do that.
if anything,
Give me
I would
something to do tonight.
I would have to say the Uberman schedule is probably good for like maybe like 1 or 2 weeks.
I'm a procrastinator. It's perfect for somebody like me.
Yeah, but
That's-
then,
but no,
but
it's
then
the
any more than
appeal.
that 1 or 2
It's
weeks,
not.
you're just
It's
gonna
you're
start
giving
getting
yourself too
bored
much
with your
time.
time because exactly it's gonna be too much time.
You can always put it off. You always can say, I'll do it later. Or I can always do it tonight. All right. But how
That's
many
the
times do you
appeal.
actually do it? You know, how many
That's
times do
the
you actually,
appeal.
that's what I'm saying. Make more value of the time now. And that's where it's like, don't give your
Exactly.
chance. Do it. Just do it. Literally the same conversation I had with that dude who's into photography. He brought it up to me and said the same thing. He's like, dude, it's so weird. You just have to do things. And you have to not think about why not to do it. You just have to do it. And it's so true.
Because once
You
you've
thought
done
about it
it,
for a reason.
once you've done it, you no longer have to think about what if, and you've done it.
Right. And it came into your mind for a reason. You had the thought to act for a reason. You've done the pre-programming. You had the thought to act for a reason. Now engage. Like, do it. Like, I don't know why it's so important and I don't do it every time, but I'm finding out it's really big.
It is. Seriously, just acting on it when it comes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I gotta remember that. It's do it.
Nope.
Do it.
Nope.
Do it now.
Yep.
Do it now.
Yep. No, and same thing with working out, same thing with, everything. It's just, I got to do it. And I got to get better with that with sleep. I have to set a bedtime for myself because I used to have one. I used to be bed by midnight and I could get up on a normal schedule and I had myself on a more routine. But with everything else, I'm pushing some decompression time into staying up later and I don't have that set schedule. And it's like, that's throwing me off too. And, it's like, schedules are nice and it's just, you got to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. There's got to be a happy medium. There's no one right way to do it.
Right.
That's
I have friends that sleep for 12 hours every day. Like that's their thing. It's what they need. For me, that's too much. I would be exhausted all day, but that's their thing every day.
I feel it's incredible how much better I felt when I was waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day. Like that was my time. I was good to go. Even on the Uberman, when that was my wake up time, like that's a good hour for me. 5 o'clock is a fantastic hour for me to wake up. If I wake up,
It's
heard hard to get up at that time, but I feel good.
Is 5 o'clock around the same time that the family is also getting up?
No, it is not.
So that's time before they're getting up. So that's like your time.
My time began to be invaded over time.
I could believe that.
Your morning time?
My morning time.
There's an interesting thing that it was some graphic designers that I was talking to that came into the shop once that talked to me about this. They said they love to do all their editing either very, very late at night or butt crack of dawn in the morning. And their reason being was that there's like a certain amount of energy that's out in the universe, right? Energy can't be created or stored. So there's a certain amount that we all have to tap into. So their mentality was, if you get there first before everybody else is already tapping in and eating off that energy, you can get a better chunk for yourself. And the same thing at night, everybody's already gone to sleep. So you have more energy to tap into. they're professional graphic designers, and that's when they do all their editing because that's what they swear by. And it's like
At night?
I've always been some myself. Yeah, at night or first thing in the morning, because same thing. Everybody's still asleep, so you have more
That's
energy.
what I'm saying, man. I think that's my issue
Wow.
with the day, and I'm not gonna lie, and I promise you this is not COVID. This is from working retail and then progressively working jobs where I deal less and less with people.
Wow, that's interesting. I seem to have lost both of you. What on earth just happened?
For yourself and whatnot, you don't have someone to tell you what you need to do. So you have to be that. You got to be that incentive for yourself. And that's the same thing. I'm your workout. You tell me and put me on a task, I'm going to do it till it's done. I'm going to bust my ass, but not things I need to do. You know what I mean? So I had to find a way to be able to get that same reaction out of myself where, hey, this is something I want done. Get it done.
Which is good, but I feel like, I don't know. It's like the closer I get to trying to do that for myself, it's like the more work says, no, he's getting away. Give him this to do. Give him this to do. Give him this to do.
Why do you think that is?
Because they don't want to
smart and
lose
aware.
me.
Right.
And because they're just tossing it on the millennial in the office.
Well, because you
Oh
don't.
my God. Oh my God. Yes.
Because you need them less. The more you depend on yourself, the less you need your job, and the more they see that. And when you don't need them, the bargaining chip is in your corner, and you can tell them how things are and what you need from them to be happy, and that's how it should be, because you're doing them a service by being there, by giving up your time that you only have a finite amount to use, and you're giving that to them for a monetary sum. You know what I mean? So it's like, balls in your corner. There's money everywhere. There's your time only comes from one place, and that's you.
Exactly.
Keep in mind just a tiny grain of salt with that corporate America is corporate America. And if you show them too much of you need me more than I need you, they will find someone that feels like they need them more than you need them.
Oh yeah, that's how it is. It's a cycle.
Sometimes you need that kick in the ass.
Funnel through.
I fully support wanting to control the bargaining chip. At the same time, there's a difference between control and manipulate.
Correct. And that's the thing. Unless you need the job, do you want to be for a company that only wants you there because you need them? That's like that's a manipulative boyfriend who only keeps you there because you need something from them. Not because you value it, not because you feel like you're growing or progressing, because they're creating a need relationship where you can't survive without them. And that's where I think we're in the situation we are in this country, where it's like they call it wage slavery, where because you don't have the money to progress. You're getting paid and you're making money, but you're not making the money to ever move out of that job or to do anything else or to start your own business. You know what I mean? It's a living wage, just enough to live off of.
And America has found multiple ways to keep it that way. Even though to its point, nowadays especially, there are so many new opportunities compared to like 5, 10, 25 years ago in order to be able to accrue money per se. So you don't have to have as much of a dependence on that 9 to 5 or on that other employer. Don't get me wrong. Like it's, and I guess like speaking on my own experience, like having multiple jobs definitely helps because you're not just, you don't just have that one income coming in. And especially like having multiple income streams, like
don't put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Right.
Especially like in like investing and kind of like what we're doing in terms of like actively working on something that like it's you're looking at like multiple
something that has value.
multiple
Whether
streams,
it's,
because
yeah,
if you're just dependent on the one stream and that stream dries out, it's only a matter of time before you die of no water.
Well, and that stream
Again,
could.
go ahead.
I was going to say that stream can die out for something that has nothing to do with your work ethic or actions. It can be corporate decisions where they make bad actions and put you guys into bankruptcy. So exactly that. It's like you don't owe them anything at the end of the day because you got to watch your ass just like they're doing for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And again, you know, that stream doesn't only flow with just the water. You know, it's got all the other stuff in it. Money is only one aspect of it.
Yes.
So even if this podcast or YouTube videos, whatever we end up doing, don't generate wealth, they generate value. You know, it gives avenues for people. So if things do happen, we still have something that we can look forward to, you know?
Right. Or what we've grown from it. Like I literally had this conversation today at work that there's more ways to pay people than in just money. You can pay people in responsibility, appreciation, give them the schedule that works for them. Like you don't just have to, the only carrot for people doesn't have to be money. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's
value people.
People have multiple different appetites. And depending on how many of those appetites you fill, and how much in terms of that person's going to continue to come back to be fed.
Right. That's right. I told them now. I was like, I understand I'm being paid less, and they know that too. I'm being paid less than I should for the position that I'm in. And I know that, they know that. And I told them, I enjoy working here for the potential that I see in this place. And I'm going to stay here for that. But I will let you know, if something's a little bit higher paid than this ask me, I probably won't go. If someplace a lot higher paying asks me, I'll probably go. And that's just the case. So the more competitive that you can make that wage, the more chance you have of holding me as an employee.
Yes. That is one of your factors.
It's a factor. It's not my end all, but I need to pay my bills and I need to know how much you value me.
100%. I would just tweak the wording of I'm going to go to I'm going to listen.
What do you mean?
As opposed to just saying like a place offers you like astronomically more money than what they're offering you.
Okay. I'm going to listen to you. Gotcha.
You're going to listen to what they have to say, as opposed to someone that's offering just a little bit more money than what they're doing. You're not going to listen. And like, I understand, like it's basically saying the same, but just by using those words instead of go, like go basically is like, I'm checked out on this place.
That's very true. That's very true. And 100%. Like, and that's the conversation I had with them too, because I want them, like, I've been the least committed at this place than I have been anywhere else. The least, like, input, but I told them that, and and they understand where that comes from. And it's like, that feels bad in myself to be not so committed to a place that I am.
But you've been committed. I feel like a lot of times you've been ignored.
I am, but not to my standard. I've had to pull back my care so I didn't like bother me as much. And it's still above a lot of standard where like they're still very happy with my performance, but I'm not. I'm late every day. Speaking of time, and I'm late every day. I live 5 minutes away from my job. And I had to have the realization today that the reason that is because I want to be there as least as possible. And however bad it is, I told them that. And I told them because of the situation, they made changes to it and things were changing. So we'll see where that goes. But it was honesty. I want you to, if we're going to move forward as a relationship, all honesty on the table, and it's like, it's that respect. And it's like, if I'm going to value you with my time, then this is how things are,
I definitely get that. And especially like you look at it from just in terms of by being late and showing them that you don't value their time more so than like other time that you value. And it just kind of piggybacks on top of why, because you don't want to be there.
But it made me feel good though too, because like They were changing my schedule, and I told them I have Wednesdays for recording, because this job was that straw that broke the camel's back. It's the one that made me realize I should care more about my time than I should care about somebody else's dream and somebody else's passion that, I'm only there to help along. That's not my end goal dream and my belief system that I want to imprint. That's just somebody else's dream that I'm helping. And it's like, your goals should come first, and take care of those, and then whatever energy you have left over can go to help taking out, care of other people's goals, other people's lives and dreams. And then you can get that kind of stuff back.
And it's funny because I feel like maybe I can go as far as saying all three of us 5-7 years ago would have been saying the opposite, that we try to care about ourselves less and care about others more, in terms of we want to help other people and we want to do good by other people. That
Right.
we look at it as selfless to ourselves to be able to offer that helping hand. I've almost adopted I've almost kind of along the lines of that, in terms of like my mindset now. Like, I still want to be there to help people, but now I'm at the point where I'm not just readily offering, because I've got other things that I can commit my time to. So if I offer, then like I'm giving you my time.
Right.
Right.
That's something I learned as being
And
a
then,
parent.
but then also going the other direction. If they ask me, that's the expectation. Like I had the conversation with my buddy who just he's in the process of he just closed on his house, and
Nice.
he like moved all his stuff from his old apartment into the house. So the house is like a mess, and he still has a lot of like things that he wants. He still has a lot of renovations and stuff that he wants to do to the house before he starts like moving his stuff in. And he's talking to me, and he wants to like hang out, like go drink and like do like not work on his house. And I offered to help him work on his house. It's like, I get that like you want to decompress and you want to like be social and whatnot, but you have more pressing priorities. You're sleeping on a mattress on your floor when you have this immaculate house just full of stuff. Like, I get where you're coming from, but like, I want to help you like do this because I also want to learn a little bit more about it as well.
Right. Like it's not going out of my way. Trust me, I want to learn this stuff anyway. You're helping me out just as much as I'm helping you out.
And that kind of sounds like he's, doing that, using you as an escape to get away from doing it.
And he absolutely was.
So maybe you're the push to help him.
Because when I went over there, fully expecting that I was going to be helping him like work on his house, and we literally just drank in the middle of his night.
But that's where it goes back to moderation, because it's like you have to, take time to yourself to do that self-care and to make sure all your needs are met, and you can better help others. And like, that's what I learned from being a parent, is like, when I was stressed out all the time because I was trying to be this, perfect dad, like that's when you get stressed. And that's when you screw up, you're so hard on yourself. But when you can spend time to hone on who you are and better express that to other people and to your kids, you know what I mean? And be a more solid example with solid lessons to come by because you've lived them, instead of just trying to be the perfect person off the back. Like, that's what I've had to restructure. If I hone myself in, I'll just naturally be more helpful to other people.
And I honestly feel like I am almost at that point where it's like, I feel like majority of my spare time is spent doing things, helping other people, that I'm not taking as much of my spare time to just like help myself.
Nice. And
But
that's where this came kind of
but
about. It's
at
like
the
this is
same
improvisation.
time, I'm kind of realizing that I do need to take a little bit more time to help myself.
It's like
You gotta have
Kevin's,
your
same thing as
time
Kevin's sleep schedule.
But
You got to
like
change
you
it
said,
up. You got to
in
change up
in
the,
moderation, and even with this sleep schedule, in
Everything.
all things in moderation.
Everything works in
and adjust it as
moderation.
you go. You know, sometimes you might need more self-care, more time to hone in on yourself and reflect and do you. And then sometimes you might be charged up for a while where you have more time to give to others and be that person for a little bit. But you might have to go back and shell once in a while, you know, and it's just not getting down on yourself and knowing when you need to and when you can. And that's where it's crazy. I feel like it's
Understanding
just
you.
now. Right.
Right.
And I feel like I'm just doing that now. It's taken me almost 30 years to sit
There's
back
all
and
these-
stop trying to understand other people and understand myself.
That's what I'm saying is we talked a little bit about it before. It was because and should. Like
Yeah.
you should do this because you should do this because you should. Well, those aren't reasons. It's like,
Yep.
what's my body telling me I should do? You know, I'm feeling
Right.
that video thing. I wanted to watch the videos because my stomach hurts. I can feel my stomach push into my diaphragm and stuff. And I want the videos to be the damning evidence. Yeah, it's because you don't get off your ass all day.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
I
having
need
those
that
hard
proof.
conversations.
It is.
Yeah.
It's about how you have to go about doing it to get yourself to listen. Because you
Right.
know you need to hear it. You just have to find a way to make yourself really listen to it.
You had those thoughts for a reason. There's a
Yes.
reason that came into your mind. It's not just like it's magic. And that's what I always thought. It's like, well, it's just a thought. It's just something. No, it took over a portion of my mind for a fucking reason. Now acknowledge
Yes.
it. You do anybody
Yes.
else, if somebody else talked to you and you just completely ignored what they said.
Oh my God, yes.
How rude would that be? But I do it to myself every day. That's
Yes.
not fair. Like,
Get that?
Just
I
you gotta appreciate
Definitely
yourself.
get that.
no.
What
Respect
you say
yourself.
matters.
Care
What
about
you say
yourself.
matters
Love
just
yourself.
as much as the next
Mhm.
person.
Exactly. You are just as important as everybody else. You know?
Shit,
And that-
it
and
might
that's
matter
when-
more because you
that's
at least
why-
should understand it.
Hopefully, sometimes.
You want to, but you want to believe. And at the end of
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you just got to get the right amount of sleep so that you can function.
Yep.
Right.
Whatever that is. Till they create a pill where we don't need it anymore.
Like Kev, I really think
Evolve.
that I just
Yeah,
and
or evolve.
honestly, I can't wait to hear about the complaints that you're gonna have going back to like a normal schedule that you're gonna be like, I don't have enough hours in the day. And then you're gonna
What's
and then
gonna
you
happen.
really are gonna see the value in the Uberman.
That's where I have to start building those lists. But I don't think
what
the
the
Uberman's
opposite-
gonna completely go away. I think I'm just
But
gonna
at the same time, I
toy
do
with
feel
it.
like you are gonna see the
Yeah.
value. Like
this
it's gonna be
I-
it's gonna be a better fit.
I slept a lot this week, but I feel like I got a lot of stuff done during the week.
That's good.
Was an interesting like opposite to the Uberman, kind of to tangent a little bit, as I usually do, is hibernation. You know what I mean? Animals
Yeah.
that like purposely waste time by sleeping for months on end to conserve energy. Like
Yes.
that completely breaks the exact intention of why we're doing what they're, you know what I mean, literally trying to pass time and conserve energy by
Literally.
wasting time as we created it. You know what I mean? Like time is just a conception that we've made. So it's like,
But also at the same time, that animal isn't getting charged every month for Netflix.
No, it's
True.
not.
It's
Neither am
true.
I though.
That's true.
It's not
It's a
getting
different kind of
charged
energy
every
exchange.
You get
month.
charged
Yeah.
I get charged by the other
Or
stuff.
it's
but-
subscriptions. It doesn't have to pay a monthly rent.
You could pay your subscriptions for 3 months and then sleep for 3 months, like work really hard for
I mean, you
You
could.
could.
6 months.
You definitely could.
And
I
sleep for
mean,
3 months.
all the
yeah.
power. All the power.
You
to
won't need
you.
Netflix.
That's what you want to do.
You won't need Netflix while you're sleeping.
Eh,
I'm gonna start a
to each
hibernation
their own, you
process.
know?
You guys won't see me for 3 weeks on end.
yeah, jeez. Now I
No, I
understand why
feel-
people go on like 3-month-long vacations. They're just sleeping the
Mhm.
entire time.
Right? Sleeping in fancy places with nice weather. Nice weather.
Yeah, no kidding.
Blink and you'll
Enter
miss it.
night, blink and you'll miss it. That's a good one.
Kind of pertains to sleep.
That
Well, yeah,
speaks
it's like the worst thing in
volumes.
time.
Yes.
Yeah.
The more time you're awake, the more chance you have of seeing something awesome happen.
but you also want to be in the right mindset so that the perception is appropriate.
Right. You need the sleep to put you in the right mindset.
Exactly.
Certain amount of sleep, whatever that is.
We certainly can't be awake all 24 hours of the day. And yes,
So
you're gonna
early
see
bird gets the
everything. You're not
worm?
gonna miss anything, but your mental health is not going to be as stable.
Meh.
What about early bird gets the worm?
That could be. I mean, that is a
Like, get up
that
earlier.
that is a quote. Get up
Don't
early.
sleep too much.
Get up
I
earlier.
don't know.
So
Yeah.
I mean, like get up earlier so that you have more time to capitalize on. And then, I mean, I guess what we're talking about, if you get up earlier, then you could just take that time that you would have been sleeping, you could just sleep later in the day. Like, see if you can attain a hybrid sleep schedule.
That's what I'm doing. That's what's gonna
Uh-huh.
happen. We'll do a follow-up.
Rolling
Well-
stone gains no moss.
We will
So-
see y'all back in a week, and we'll see if Kev's sleep schedule has improved or if we're going to be talking about sleep again.
See you guys in a week.